I'll never fall in love again since you said goodbye. I'll never feel that thrill again. Why should I try?
Have you retyped the chapter on the Medici?
Yes, Mr. Argyle. It's in the tray.
Ah, good. Good. And tomorrow we can move on to the modern era.
Yes, Mr. Argyle.
Could you turn that off, please, Grandma?
The sun will shine. There may be stars above.
Mother, why do we have to go through this charade where I have to confess my sins to you like you're some sort of female pope? Give me the money and I'll go.
What's it for, Jacko?
It doesn't matter what it's for, does it?
Is it for business, drugs?
Is that Jacko again?
How do I know it's not illegal?
It is
That's
not
Jacko.
illegal. Just tell me what it's for, Jacko. Mother, do you think that I could come here and humiliate myself again if it wasn't important, if I had anywhere else to go, but don't you think I have any shame, Mother?
No, I don't, Jacko. I think you're shameless. You've always treated me like I'm a bank, but we dig you out of every
Philip.
hole you find. And I have had enough.
Thank you, darling.
You don't know how often I do. You could spare the money. That is not the point. The point is, Jacko, that we've been here before. Next time I see you, I will post you.
I wonder how much he needs this time.
Different, Mother. This is about God.
Whatever your brother wants, she will give it to him.
How much?
£2,500. Don't do that. And if I don't give him the first 500 tomorrow, he's going to kill me. Some of the thugs that work for him will pour a bottle of whiskey down my throat, prop me behind the wheel of a car, and roll me into a bloody crossing. And the next time you see me, I'll be dead. Is that what you want? I know you keep that sort of money in the house.
I'd like to meet this bookmaker friend of yours, please.
That's not how it's going to work.
I am telling you.
Don't mess with this man, Mother.
What are you doing,
I'm
Kirsten?
not just going to hand money over to you.
I am
without
standing here listening to the
exactly where it's
argument.
from. Mother, this man is not going to come here like a kid after school to discuss some playground spat. He's going to come up here with a gun!
This is not a game, woman. Give me the money. I have nowhere else to go.
Will this ever end, Jacko? All the advantages you had, all the money and thought poured into you. And what have you become? A little man.
You're a bitch. Give it to me.
No, no more.
Give it to me. I need it.
I think you should leave now, Jacko.
Give me the money now, or I will kill you! I swear to God, she is dead!
Get out, Jacko! Come on! Jacko! Jacko, wait!
I'm a dead man, Hess.
Calm down. Come on, let's go for a walk, baby.
Has he gone?
He's gone.
Will you tell your person to leave, please?
Sorry?
I'll take the post.
It's, 9 o'clock tomorrow, Grandma.
Yes, sir. I didn't give him the money this time, Leo.
No.
Jacko's a bad lot. He always has been. Have I done the right thing?
Rachel, you've always done exactly what you wanted with these children. I think it's a bit late to start asking for my advice.
It's all right, Leo. Once again, I will try to do the right thing by your children. And I will subsidize you as you write your substandard books, which no one ever wants to publish, and I will make all the difficult decisions for our family. You're the biggest parasite of the lot, Leo.
Mother,
Not now, Bobby.
we really need to confirm what we're doing about the city trust.
Sort it out yourself, Bobby. Sometimes I feel I should never have bothered with you and your brother.
Kirsten. Have you, seen Mary?
Your wife will be down at the lodge, Mr. Durrant.
Right.
Maybe you should go to her.
I think I'll just have a little drink first. Go and fetch Leo. Hello?
What number, sir?
I need the police.
I don't know what you're smiling for, Mr. Argyle. I have 7 witnesses who heard you threaten to kill your mother an hour and a half before she died.
So what? I didn't do it.
These same family members also testify that you attacked her because she wouldn't pay off your gambling debt.
Look, everyone between here and Bristol knows that the old girl kept a stash in her desk. Now, I'm not a detective, Inspector Hirsch, I wouldn't dare presume. But the whole thing looks like a burglary to me. Mum was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Which the coroner says was about 8 o'clock.
Was it?
Where were you at 8 o'clock, Jacko?
Hitchhiking. Between Red Key and Drymouth.
Who was driving the car?
I don't know. He was about 35, dark hair, drove a dark blue Morris Minor, talked a lot about eels. Very boring, what can I say? He dropped me outside the pub at 8:15.
You're a cocky little swine, aren't you?
From time to time.
Is this yours?
Yep.
The Southern Bank in Drymouth issued these 2 £5 notes to your mother yesterday morning. Their serial numbers are from the batch of £100 that your mother collects each month to top up the float she has on the estate.
Yes, she
gave it to me after we argued. Your family is sure she didn't give you any money, Jacko? Well, she did. So that's that, isn't it? Look, what you've got to do now, mate, is your job. You've got to find the guy who gave me the lift. But your alibi's a lie, isn't it? I did not murder my mother. You've lived a life of lies, haven't you, Jacko?
Dear Miss Marple, it's a while since I wrote, but as you know, I regard the time I spent in service with you as the time from which my life began. You gave me the confidence to train for a profession and seek my place in the world. I hope I don't embarrass you, Miss Marple, when I write that you are the closest to family I have. Fate has dealt me a curious hand since I left you, but I am at last to be married, having found a happiness in life which I always thought would elude me. I would love it if it were possible for you to share my day of happiness with me.
Dearest Gwenda, of course I remember you and would love to come to your wedding. As I grow older, nothing brings me more pleasure than to see young people I am fond of find happiness. Of all the girls who have come to me from the orphanage, it was you who underwent the greatest transformation. And I've often wondered what opportunities you have made with your life. As the wedding is on Saturday, could I possibly travel down to Devon early on Thursday morning to give me time to recover from the train?
Oh, Leo! Leo! You can come!
Oh, how wonderful! When's she coming down?
Yes, next we have the Arctic fox. That's Alopex lagopus. There she is, cuddly little lass. Unless that is, you actually try to cuddle her when she might basically sort of, bite your hand off. So I suppose she's not cuddly at all, really. No, the thing that's interesting, actually, really interesting about Alopex lagopus is its comparison to the more common European fox. So let's have a look at her. There we... no. Sorry, that's... I do apologise. That's actually Miss Frobisher. She's a colleague of mine on the Hayes whatchamacallit. And there we go. Vospes vulpes. Now, as we can see, these two foxes have adapted to live in very different climates. And the former one here is, believe me, very furry and has a good supply of body fat. Now, what also helps her to survive in a very frigid environment is her short muzzle and very thick ears. I'm so sorry. I do apologise. Yes, Marjorie. Do hope you're not with us tonight. Sorry.
Fascinating talk, Dr. Calgary. Thank you.
I do hope so. Thank you. Thank you.
It was indeed, Doctor. Most illuminating.
Very, very kind. Thank you.
Miss Marple. Gwenda. Oh, how lovely to see you again.
Yes. Well, first of all, I must apologise for the weather. And I also must apologise, thank you, for the final mode of transport needed to get you over to Sunny Point. But you see, the house is on a little island.
Oh!
And yes, the only way of getting across is on one of the little boats, which are all named after Leo's children, actually.
Oh.
The boats.
Yes, well, slow down. Let me have a look at you. Oh, you look wonderful. It's been too long.
I'm so glad that you could come, Miss Marple. I can't tell you. You see, Leo has 5 grown-up children.
Oh,
and
5?
Yes, and you know how intimidating large families can be, especially when they're all holed up together.
Oh.
But at least I'm going to know I've got one person on my side this weekend.
Oh, it's a bit muddy, isn't it?
Yes, very. Mind your
Oh, dear.
step.
Grenda, is this the same Sunny Point that had a tragedy a couple of years ago?
Yes. Yes, that's right. Rachel's death was a terrible thing. But it's behind us now. Anyway, mind your step, Miss Marple, on this duckboard, which is very slippy. I do hope you're going to be comfortable in this, Miss Marple.
That's it, you got it? Mind the corner.
You mind the corner. Hold on.
Tina? Tina?
Yes, Bobby, sir.
Who put these files here?
You did, Sergeant Major, sir.
Did I? You did, Bob. Well, these... No, I want the roses in here, and I want these ones to go in the dining room.
Well, can't the new maid do it? Get Mickey to ask her. He's always looking for a chance to talk to her.
Hey! Oh, no. Oh, Hester. No. No, we're using the old dinner service tonight, and we're saving the best for the wedding day itself, aren't we? Yeah.
How much does all this cost, Bob? It's great you've arranged it all.
Well, Dad deserves it done right.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. Be the much spoken about Miss Marple.
Am I? Oh, dear.
So these are Leo's sons, Bobby.
Hello.
Hello, Bobby.
Nice to see you.
And Mickey.
Pleased to meet you.
Mickey.
And how are you, Mother?
Oh, don't.
May I take your bag, Miss Marple?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, and these are our 2 younger sisters. This is Hester and Tina.
Hello.
Hello, Hester.
Hello.
Tina.
Let's see if Miss Marple can spot the family resemblance.
You see, Leo and Rachel's children are adopted.
Ah, I see.
Forecast says it's going to rain all weekend, Gwenda. You do realise that, don't you?
This is Philip. He's married to our sister Mary.
But we ignore him. He's grumpy.
I'm the Grump's wife, Mary.
So many people.
Oh, and here is Leo.
Welcome to Sunny Point, Miss Marple.
Thank you.
Hat. Picking up. Jumping down.
Arrangements. Poo sticks.
Oh. Ew.
House of Poo Corner.
Philip, smile. This is a truly momentous day. Ring around the mulberry bushes. Oh, spinning.
Turn the carousel. If you do the whole thing, Gwenda, you're just making a hole in the carpet.
The maid's just left the room, Mickey.
Can we concentrate on Gwenda?
A bird.
She do. A ghost story?
Oh, try not to screw.
Yes.
What's that? Well, let the poor man in.
I thought it was a ghost. How did he dare? How did he make it here on a night like this?
Poor man.
Who are you? Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm very, very wet. Oh, very sorry. Is Mr. Argyle, Mr. Leo Argyle, in the house?
Yeah?
My name is Arthur Calgary, and I'm here to tell you.
Here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. You're a very kind and thoughtful lady. Yes. I'm here to tell you that there is no possible way that your son, Jacko, committed that murder, sir. He's innocent.
And I can prove it. Yes, I'm a scientist at Cambridge University, but for the last 2 years I've been in the Arctic.
You've been on the Hayes-Bentley expedition?
Back a month, yes. But we left, you see, on the 17th of October, this is 2 years ago, but the day before, the 16th, I was here. I was here in Red Key, saying goodbye to Nanny, she's retired to a home in the area. Actually, Nanny's sister's been very ill recently with psoriasis, and...
We don't need to hear about Nanny's sister.
No.
So you were in the area the night my wife was murdered?
Which was at about 8 o'clock in the evening.
Yes.
Well, at that time, I was driving between Red Key and Drymouth.
In a dark blue Morris Minor.
That's right. And between 10:02 and 15:15, I gave a ride to a hitchhiker.
No, most eels, most anguilliforms, prefer to dwell in shallow waters and or hide at the bottom layer of the ocean in tiny holes.
Have you got the time?
My God. You're the alibi.
I'm the yeah, whatchamacallit, yeah. Who they never found. And they never found me, because by the time they started looking, I was, halfway around the world looking at lemmings.
Dr. Calgary's with you now? I told him to wait till we came up with him in the morning.
Well, is he who he says he is, Inspector?
I don't think he's a scientist. He doesn't seem a very clever man.
I'm checking his story now, and all his dates seem to fit. Looks like your brother was telling the truth all along about his alibi.
When can you get here, Inspector?
In the morning. We won't get over the crossing in this weather. Look, Mr. Argyle. Dr. Calgary thinks he's doing a good thing, rushing to tell your family this. But while he knows an unnatural amount about eels and such like, I don't think he knows anything about people. How are they all taking the news?
I thought you'd be pleased to know that Jacko Argyle isn't a murderer.
We are.
So, it's, jump for joy.
You are an insensitive man, Dr. Calgary.
Kirsten.
No, what did he think he was doing? When you looked through the window, didn't you see a happy family?
I did. And I thought that what I had to say would make you happier.
That our brother was executed for a murder he didn't commit. Why couldn't you have just left us all alone?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Calgary.
Come on.
Daddy.
Come on.
Well, yeah, what's the quote? Nothing is ever, I was useless at literature. Nothing is settled.
Nothing is ever settled until it is settled right. Kipling.
Yes, quite so. It is Kipling.
The police have requested that you leave now.
Oh, in this weather?
They didn't mention the weather. They just asked you to go.
Right. It's true, though, isn't it? Do you think what Kipling said? I think it's true.
Miss Marple, I think, if you don't mind, I do think that we ought to leave the family to themselves for a while.
Oh, of course.
Would you care to have supper in my room?
Oh, I'm sure Miss Marple would prefer her own company. She's had a very long journey.
No, it would be nice to have company. Thank you. When did Rachel Argyle realize she couldn't have children?
Just after she was married. She was an heiress. Her father was rich as a king.
She used that money to buy her family.
And bought Viper's Point, which was the original name of this estate. She changed the name to Sunny Point and filled it like a fairground with everything a child might desire. And over the years, she bought the children from deprived backgrounds.
Mary is the eldest, isn't she?
She was from New York. Slum tenement, parents in jail. She's always been a particular girl. Everything proper and in its place. And her husband, the pilot, he's a bag of badness, I tell you. Rachel never liked him. And she was right.
Why is he in a wheelchair?
Polio. 18 months ago. Oh. Then, after Mary, came the twins, Jacko and Bobby.
Bobby was Jacko's twin?
Oh, yes. They came from an orphanage, but at the same time I came from Denmark to take up my appointment. Then Esta was a Catholic girl, shame. And Mickey and Tina during the war. Mickey from the East End. Tina's mother, if you understand what I mean. They both live in Red Key. The children were Rachel's obsession. The well she put all her money and attention down.
And her love?
You know, Miss Marple, Rachel meant well. But her tragedy was that I don't think she was capable of love. At least not towards her children.
Shall I say what we're all thinking? Is that a good idea? Why we're not looking each other in the eye?
Just eat your dinner, Tina.
Because if Jacko didn't kill the bitch, who did?
Don't you dare use language like that against Mother.
I used it behind her back when she was alive, Mary. I'll use it when she's dead.
Apologize.
That's what everyone's thinking, Daddy.
Tina!
I think that we should maybe talk about all this when the shock has worn off, don't you?
Why not? Let's all talk about the weather, shall we, Gwenda? The price of tea. Oh, very English. I'm sorry, sir, but Tina's right. If Jacko didn't murder Rachel, then which one of your children did?
Well, it was a burglary. Surely. Like Jacko always said.
I think we should leave any speculation to the police, don't you?
Police?
Yes, the police. And it won't just be Jacko's movements that night they'll be investigating. It will be all of us.
Well, I'm going to say it was a burglary.
Well, they'll accept that.
Last time we just told them it was Jacko and they accepted that straight away. I don't think we're dealing with Sherlock Holmes here.
I will not have this talk.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Dad.
Sorry, Daddy. Sorry, Daddy. If you'll excuse us.
Did Mrs. Argyle leave any of her fortune to her children?
Oh, I know what you're thinking. You old ladies, you look so benign, and yet your brain goes tick-tock, tick-tock, poring over the latest murders in the newspapers, looking for motives.
Well, one has few pleasures left in life.
Rachel left all her fortune in trust for her children, administered by Bobby. They are all wealthy and can dip into the trust with his permission at any time. But at that time, Rachel had stopped being generous to Jacko. He had wasted so much on illegal schemes. We didn't know half of what he got up to. We didn't know he was married.
Jacko was married?
Oh, yes. She turned up out of the blue on the day of Rachel's funeral. Yes?
Hello.
Yes?
I'm Maureen.
Hello, Maureen.
Yeah, Jacko's wife.
No. No, Jacko's not married.
My mum said, what with him committing murder and that I should come up to the big house and you'd see me right.
What is it, Kirsten?
Jacko's got a wife.
Nice.
Now that Jacko's going to be found guilty and all, I thought I'd come for you to see me right, Mr. Argyle.
Lies and wickedness.
Be quiet, Kirsten. It's a bit early to say if he's going to be found guilty, don't you think?
Well, he did have the money, sir.
And she was right, Miss Marple. He was found with some of the money on him, the exact same serial numbers. Jacko is responsible. I'm certain. Always a wicked boy.
ghost comes back to haunt me. Once again, Rachel takes away any chance of happiness.
What do you mean?
You saw how suspicious everyone was of each other tonight?
Yes, but... I mean, if Jacko wasn't guilty, then the police will soon discover who is.
Oh, but 2 years on, they won't find anything they can use. And when the police reopen their investigation, the whole world will be suspicious of this family.
Excuse me, Bobby? Have you seen Gwenda?
No one thought Jacko was innocent, you know.
No.
Unlike everyone else, he actually was my flesh and blood. And even I didn't think that. It was such a cut and dried case. And he was always such a terrible liar. And violent if you went against him.
Do you think, Dr. Calgary is mistaken?
The day before my brother was executed, Hess and I visited him in prison.
It's time to say goodbye, Hess.
No, don't say goodbye, Jacko. No, because I love you to stay, Jacko. Get off me! I love you!
Come on, please. Come on. Come on.
Get off me!
I've made sure that wife of yours is provided for.
I should have been more like you, shouldn't I, Bob? That's what they told me all my life. How could twins be so different? There's no chance of appeal, is there?
It's the money you had that hangs you, Jack.
Maybe this is the best thing I've ever done.
It's gone round and round in my head for 2 years. And now, I think I know what he meant. I think he knew who the real killer was. And he was protecting them. He was prepared to die for them.
Actually, Leo and I are thinking of postponing the wedding, Miss Marple.
I'm sorry, dear.
2 hours ago, I was happy. I was so happy that you'd arrived. Happy to be part of a family. Happy to have found him. And I won't have it taken away from me. I won't.
Is there anything I can do, Gwenda?
Yes, leave. That's what you can do. I think just need to be on my own for a while. We can talk at breakfast.
Sorry. It's you. Yes, crossing seemed rather difficult in this weather, and...
Truth is, it's a dangerous crossing.
Indeed. Indeed, yes. Tell me, shouldn't you be inside and in the warm?
Do you want another truth, Dr. Scientist? Mother and Jacko dying was the best thing that happened to this family. They were the ones who brought unhappiness here. I loved my brother, but without him, we'd become a happy family. Until you arrived. We all know it wasn't a burglary, and if Jacko didn't kill her, which one of us must be guilty?
Esta? See you in here. Come on, sweetheart, let's get you inside.
But it's not the guilty that matter, is it, Dr. Scientist? It's the innocent. The innocent who will suffer now.
If you can't get across, you might as well come in too. The first thing the police will do is try to establish a motive.
Sorry, where am I sleeping?
In the study.
Well, the motive's easy. Who gained most from Mother's death? Who now lives in her bedroom? Gwenda, exactly. Who's going to share a bed with her husband?
Are you heading back to London, Dr. Calgary?
Well, I think yes. Yes, I should. But I think also I should stay and put right this upset that I caused by blundering in last night. That young girl, Esta, said yesterday that it would be the innocent who would suffer now that the case has been reopened.
How perceptive of her.
Yes, that's what I thought. Very perceptive, but what on earth did she mean?
I last saw my wife just before 7 o'clock on the night of the murder. This has been documented.
And what did you and she talk about?
The decision not to give Jacko any more money. We didn't talk for long, but it was cordial.
And I will subsidize you as you write your substandard books, which nobody ever wants to publish. You're the biggest parasite of the lot, Leo.
The next time I saw her, she was dead.
So, you were alone in your room for that hour and a half?
Yes.
Was the rest of your family in the house at the time?
Not Tina and Mickey. They have flats over in Red Key.
Jacko's wife?
At that point, we didn't know Jacko was married, Inspector.
Mr. and Mrs. Durrant, it appears from your statement of 2 years ago that you were both in the drawing room between the time of the argument and the body being discovered.
Yes, it was our habit to spend the evenings here rather than down at the lodge.
Your wife will be down at the lodge, Mr. Durrant. Maybe you should go to her.
And during that time, you didn't see or hear anyone go into Mrs. Argyle's study?
No.
No.
I knew Jacko never killed her. I mean, he was a hothead. He was in fights. Everyone knew that about him, but...
But it takes a different kind of character to pick up a weapon and murder someone, doesn't it, Hester? A coldness.
Yes, coldness.
You left Sunny Point before 7 o'clock that evening and you went straight home?
Yes. I took the post and posted it. And then, yes, home.
Miss Vaughan, had your friendship with Mr. Argyle begun before his wife's death?
No.
So your relationship with his wife was good?
Yes.
She didn't know you harbored feelings for her husband?
Well, I didn't, at that time, I didn't have feelings, as you put it. But Leo, we've fallen in love since his wife's death. And in many ways, I've helped him through it.
But then you may do that, Kirsten.
I've let her go for a couple of days, Mr. Argyle. Best keep all this police business within the family.
Is Gwenda still in with them?
Oh, yes. She'll still be in there, lying, I imagine.
Lying about what?
About what friends she and Mrs. Argyle were. About how you and her only fell in love after your wife died.
Well, it's the truth.
No, it is not, sir. I've been thinking, Mr. Argyle. I've been thinking about motives. And Rachel knew that girl was in love with you. Rachel had confronted her with it before she died. Said she was a cuckoo in the nest.
What's that, Miss Lindstrom?
Oh, no doubt she will deny this, Inspector. She will try and shore up the lies she has told you in there. But I heard bad words in this house between her and Rachel Argyle 1 week before she was murdered.
Listen to me, you little slut. I see the way you look at him. We all know about women like you. You keep him at his work away from me so you can...
He doesn't love you.
Leave my husband alone or I will dismiss you from this house. It's a sad little woman like you know about love.
I have to tell this, Gwenda. Can you deny it? You want a motive, Inspector? Then I think this woman heard Jacko shout, "I will kill you, you are dead." And she knows that if she kills Rachel that night, Jacko will get the blame, and she will get the man and the house she wants. Can you deny this, Gwenda Vaughn? The motive, the scheme, the coldness? Leo? 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 Thank God you have not yet married her, Mr. Argyle. Thank God she will not get away with it. Leo? 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 I didn't do it.
It's that hoop over there now, Yes. That's right. Come on.
Don't you know how to play by now?
Be quiet, Mary.
You admiring my brother's ability to keep things going, Calgary?
Yes, I was, rather.
He's always organising. He's organised the whole of tomorrow's wedding, if it's to take place. He's paid for the lot.
Yes, he made his money in the city, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. The only one Mother could be proud of. Money was important to Mother. She bought me for £100, Doctor. Did you know that?
Shut up, Mary.
I was evacuated here during the war. And afterwards, she bought me from my natural mother for £100. From the day I came here, all I wanted to do was to go home.
Yes.
Inspector, we haven't been introduced, but I'm Jane Marple, an old friend of Gwenda Vaughan's down for the wedding, and I wish to vouch for her character.
Yes, of course. She's kind to cats and children, and like her mother, who I presume was your best friend, she would never have done anything like this.
I have no idea who her mother was. I'm beginning to understand what Rachel Argyle was like as a mother, and I think she, not Gwenda, is the key to solving this crime, don't you? Oh, can we stay still for a minute? I'm too old to trot. Now, with most crimes, it's the character of the killer which is most fascinating, but in this case, it's the character of the victim which reveals more. Don't you agree?
Maybe. Go on.
This is no crime of passion. It's one of immaturity, of arrested development, most common to teenage years, and the Argyles lived under the iron control of their mother even into adulthood. No wonder Jacko kept his wife a secret. To get married would be too much like growing up.
Gwenda Vaughn remains my main suspect.
No, your main suspect is still Jacko. I'm sure that's what you mean, Inspector. He was in possession of money from that desk. Have you asked yourself how he got it?
Inspector. Miss Marple, is there any chance of a lift to the Swan Hotel?
Yes, of course, Doctor. Have you asked yourself?
I have. His twin brother thinks Jacko went to his execution protecting someone. Now, he hardly knew Gwenda Vaughn. Why would he die to protect her? I'll let you get on.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Dr. Calgary.
Goodbye.
Who was that?
Gwenda?
Yes, come in, Miss Marple.
You haven't been down to supper, dear.
Leo's called off the wedding.
Oh, yes, they're all talking about it downstairs.
Oh, yes, I bet they are. I bet they're all having a sweepstake on when the police are going to come and arrest me.
The police won't arrest you without any evidence.
No, but they suspect me, don't they? And I haven't got an alibi for that evening, Miss Marple. Even Leo suspects me. But the thing is, no, you see, I was thinking that, Rachel's rooms haven't been touched since she died, and I just thought that, you know, maybe there's something in here that's been overlooked, you know, that might point to the killer.
Like a diary or correspondence?
Yes, but I can't find anything.
Oh, something like that's more likely to be found in her study, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. Will you help me, Miss Marple?
You learn to do that? My nephew Raymond has one. He's always losing the key. What would Rachel be doing with a private detective? That's what you must find out tomorrow at the Swan Hotel. There's someone there who will be willing to help you.
Did Rachel Argyle ask you to investigate her husband?
No. I was employed to investigate another member of her family.
Who?
Her son-in-law, Philip Durrant.
Why?
Well, before his unfortunate illness, Mr. Durrant was what I call a leg-over merchant. Right little man about town. Rachel Argyle suspected he had just married her daughter for her money, and she was right. That's why she kept a tight rein on her daughter's inheritance. Anyway, she wanted evidence from me that would force the marriage to end. I provided a large file containing the names of women, the dates of his assignations in hotels, photographs, you know the form. And I delivered it to her a few days before she died.
Esta? Hers?
When we first married, Philip bought a maisonette in Redkey.
Was he working?
No, he'd come out of the RAF and was, between ventures. Never very lucky. Anyway, Mother took one look at our little place and insisted that we came here to take the lodge.
You didn't want to come?
Philip was something that was mine, Miss Marple, not hers. But it turned out he didn't have as much money as he said he had and was eager to come and escape the mortgage.
Couldn't you take money out of your trust?
Mother would never have given permission. And now Bobby has that power, and he's also reluctant. It's been nearly 2 years since that awful night, Miss Marple, and yet we still haven't been able to move on.
Must have been shocking for you to have discovered your mother's body that way.
Well, it was Kirsten who actually discovered her.
Yeah?
And then Philip who phoned the police. Fortunately, I wasn't there at the time.
It has to be Philip Durrant. He's the killer. Rachel had confronted him with the evidence, thank you, from confidentiality croaker. And then Philip overheard Jacko, threatened to kill her, when the house was quiet, took his chance to bang her on the head. We should go back, Sunny Point now, and make a citizen's arrest.
Bang the fellow up. Why are we going to see a film?
Miss Marple said we had to find Maureen.
Who's Maureen?
Jacko's wife.
Right, yes, of course.
Jacko did it, Miss Bourne. No doubt. He was found with the evidence.
The money from the desk.
That's right. And he had a nasty side. I was pleased to be rid of him, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Mum said he was just a charmer, you know. Women had a thing for him, especially older women. He could play them like a piano.
How do you mean?
Well, he'd flatter them, sir. Get them to fall in love with him. And then he'd sting them for money he needed for some scam or other. He worked for this car salesman and got into trouble when a lot of money went missing. The salesman's wife was so besotted with him that she ended up raiding her own savings so that he could give the money back to the husband.
Could he always get money out of his mother?
Ah, he had to be desperate to go to her. But he was desperate that night, Miss Bourne. He was very scared. The bookie was really a gangster, and he was going to kill him. I think Jacko owed much more money than he was letting on.
How was London, Bob? Any decisions on releasing Mary's capital yet?
Not now, Philip.
We were promised a decision 18 months ago.
Look! I don't need this every time I come back from London.
It's not your money!
I don't care if he's busy. I want to see Inspector Hewish now, please. I've got vital information concerning the Sunny Point murder, and I must tell him before he hangs another innocent man.
Mrs. Price, would you come this way, please?
Well, yes, but it's Cyril you want to talk to, Inspector.
Cyril?
Cyril's come here to make a confession. Haven't you, Cyril?
Yes.
Go on.
Cyril Price, did you bludgeon Mrs. Argyle to death?
No, he's been scrumping again. And I clipped him round the ear. I told him what for, Inspector. But he was out scrumping by the crossing to Sunny Point on the night of the murder 2 years ago. I mean, we would have come forward before, but we thought you found the killers.
What did you see, Cyril?
I saw a dragon.
A what?
They all call it that because of the noise it makes, but he saw that motorbike, Tina Argyle's bike. And he got back about 8:15, so it must have been about 8 when he saw it. So, what do you think about that, then? She hasn't told you she was there at the time of the murder, has she? I told my husband the inspector wouldn't know this. I said that to him, didn't I, Cyril?
Why do we always have to play games, Bobby?
Well, we can't just mope around the house, can we? You going, Mick?
Sure. Come on. You can be a mighty.
I told you I didn't like this game anyway.
Come on.
Is there any way that Philip and Jacko could have been in league?
I can't see it.
Well, they both wanted Rachel out of the way to get access to their fund. They must have plotted this all along.
Something's happening.
Tina, the inspector would like a word. Miss Argyle, will you come back to the station with us, please?
Why?
For questioning.
What do you mean? She's not going anywhere.
Miss Argyle, if you don't come, I'll be forced to arrest you on suspicion of involvement in your mother's death.
What are you talking about?
It's all right.
She's done nothing wrong! Nothing wrong! It's all right. Dad!
She was at work in her library at the time of the murder, wasn't she, Miss?
I'm sure the police have her reasons.
What reasons? And what do they know, Dad?
They didn't tell me anything.
Well, why didn't you ask?
Mickey! All of you. The police are going to do their job, and there's nothing we can do. All of us are under suspicion. But we must stick together and not let this drive us apart. Now, I know that none of you could have committed this murder. And I'm proud of all of you, and we will get through this.
I should say something here, and it's what we're all thinking. Mr. Argyle, I know you are thinking it, which is why they have arrested Tina and not arrested her.
Absolutely.
Am I not right?
No, I'm not thinking that, no.
No, I am right. And you have a duty now, Gwenda Vaughan, to go and confess. This family will not stand by while another child swings on the gallows for your crime.
You do it, Gwenda.
No! Leo! Leo! Leo, why don't you... We will not have a murderer under this roof.
I am not a murderer! And I'll be able to prove it!
I know things about this family, and I swear that before...
What things? What do you know?
I know that Rachel had given Philip an ultimatum to leave Mary.
What?
Yes, because of your philandering. She had a private detective under you.
Oh, this is preposterous.
You see, this family's full of secrets. But I know things that will incriminate the killer. I really do. I'm in Rachel's rooms, remember? I found things.
Miss Argyle, you've always maintained that you were at work in Red Key at the time your mother was murdered. Why have you been lying to us? Miss Argyle, why did you go to Sunny Point that night?
Mother had arranged for me to take a post as assistant librarian at St Andrews University in Scotland. I went to tell her I didn't want the job.
So you saw your mother that night?
I drove to Sunny Point, but didn't cross.
Why not? Why were you really there, Tina?
To see her about the job.
Then why didn't you? Tina Argyle, I'm holding you on suspicion of being involved in the murder of Rachel Argyle.
Should have been on a honeymoon by now.
You really can't throw around accusations like that, Gwenda.
People are accusing me, Leo. They're accusing me. I didn't do it, Leo. I didn't.
Yes.
Look me in the face and tell me that you think I did it. Leo, look at me.
Gwenda, I think it's best if you move out of Sunny Point tomorrow. I think it's best for everyone that I just have my family here. Yes.
Leo, I am still the same person that I was 2 days ago. I'm still the same woman.
Yes.
That you wanted to be part of this family, that you wanted to marry.
I know, but I think it's best that you leave in the morning. I'm sorry.
Good night, Mickey.
You going down to the police station?
They said to go in the morning.
Miss Marple.
Yes?
Miss Marple, I don't know how to say this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the things I said about her.
Gwenda?
She's been killed in the night. You must be careful, Miss Marple. If Gwenda found something out, then maybe that's why she was killed. And if she told you...
No. She didn't. Nothing.
You must be careful, Miss Marple. I found her just before 7 this morning. I asked her to leave the house today. I'd taken her a cup of tea to wake her up. I wanted her gone before their children woke up.
We need to inform Miss Vaughan's family of her death. Do you have...
She had no family. This is where she thought she'd found a family.
Esther.
I want my daddy!
It's all right.
I can't stand it anymore.
I know.
I can't stand it.
No, come on now. It's going to be fine.
It's not going to be fine!
Okay, all right. She had a tablet.
No, sir.
Look.
Stay with me.
Yes, I'll stay with you. Come on.
What weapon do you think was used, if I may ask?
Entry wound was very small. Penknife, maybe?
A letter opener.
Daddy, what's happened? It's going to be fine. You take care of Hester. Make sure she's all right.
No, Miss Marple, if I hadn't have come here, none of this would have happened, and that poor girl would still be alive. I blame myself. I do. I blame myself.
Dr. Calgary.
I know it wasn't my fault, but really I blame myself. One can't help feeling. Take me back to the Arctic. That's where I belong. Lemmings don't go around murdering each other.
Pull yourself together, Dr. Calgary. There are some things I need you to do.
How are you?
Go away, Philip.
Just being nice.
You're never nice.
I think we may have a problem. I think they might be onto us.
Are these yours?
I don't know how they just got into my room in that state.
But they're yours?
Yes, yes.
Mr. Argyle, if you say you didn't put these in your study, you're implying that a member of your family is trying to frame you for murder. When did you last see Gwenda Vaughan alive?
In my study last night about 11 o'clock.
And when did your relationship with her begin?
About 4 months after my wife died. Gwenda was very kind. She was loving in a way that no one ever had been. Loving. Gwenda.
Mrs. Lindsay. Mrs. Lindsay.
How's your car, love? Can't go filling you up with petrol.
My car.
It was a joke.
Right. Yes, I understand. Mrs. Lindsay, I wondered if I could have a rather delicate word with you.
Have you read Leo's book? He was talking to me about it. And this is what it's all about, isn't it? Did he talk to you, Miss Marple? Good things come from bad deeds.
Kirsten.
No, it has to be said. He was a shadow of a man with Rachel. And when she died, he became alive again, didn't he, Mary?
Yes.
And he never loved Jacko like we did, Bob. And he'd already started his affair with Gwenda. I'm the eyes of this house. I see what I'm not supposed to see.
Jacko, what a boy. He was the kind of bloke who could get under your skin, you know? Naughty, dangerous. You knew you shouldn't, but... he was like a drug. He can make you feel 22 again. You ever had a girl like that, Professor?
Well, there was a young lady at church once, but we never really spoke.
What was her name?
I believe you gave Jacko Argyle some money.
I knew what he was up to. He pinched a wad off my husband and needed to pay him back.
And you knew about this, and yet you went along with it.
I didn't want him to go away. Ever.
Good afternoon, sir.
May I have my key, please?
Certainly.
Thank you. Are there any messages for me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, sir, you forgot your key.
Going to London, Bobby, on a Sunday. Don't you think your father might need you today?
You're not my keeper, Philip.
Listen, John. According to my calculations, Mary's share of the trust should be $250,000. Now, I know we have asked for 20 grand to buy a house, but I think we should have all of it now, and we should stop being treated like children!
Know the conditions of the trust, Philip. You are entitled to half.
Yes, but when, Bob?
Argyle? Miss Argyle? Miss Argyle. Yeah. Why don't we go back to the house?
I know what I wanted to ask you, Dr. Scientist. You know about animals and environments, don't you? You take an animal out of its environment and it suffers, doesn't it? It dies inside. Zoos try and reinvent it, but...
Mr. Argyle!
But they die inside.
Mr. Argyle, can you help us?
Even animals need love, Dr. Scientist.
Could we just step away from the water? I'll be more than willing to give you a seminar on the subject. Back of the house. Probably rustle up a slideshow.
Money is the cause of this family's misery. All of us were from poor backgrounds.
Yes. This is lovely. If you just step away.
Money has not made us happy.
It never does.
Animals don't have money, do they?
Not a penny.
Why is that? Why have human beings turned unhappiness into coins that you can actually touch? Where's Bobby? Bobby!
No.
Bobby!
Kyle!
Bobby!
No.
Bobby!
Just let her rest a moment, child. Please. Could ask her questions in a minute. She's still in shock.
I don't think you're going to find a suicide note, Inspector. That is what you're looking for, isn't it? A confession.
Why won't I find one?
Because I don't think Bobby really intended to kill himself. At least, not until he was halfway over the crossing.
What do you know, Miss Marple?
I think it's something the whole family should hear. It seems that despite their differences, the twins, Bobby and Jacko, were more alike than anybody realized. It always struck me as odd that Bobby was as parsimonious with the trust as Rachel had been, that since she died he had barely parted with a penny. But I think Bobby had been living under great stress. So I asked Dr. Calgary to get in touch with his stockbrokers, marshals.
Yes. Well, one of the partners of Marshall's was arrested this morning for fraud and embezzlement, and, well, it seems that he and Bobby had their fingers in the honeypot, so to speak.
Bobby used Rachel's trust for financial scams on a much larger scale than Jacko ever got involved in. The authorities had been closing in on his corruption for the last 2 years.
Which means that Rachel, as a trustee, would have had knowledge of Bobby's criminal activities shortly before she died.
Sort it out yourself, Bobby. Sometimes I feel I should never have bothered with you and your brother.
But Bobby's always been as generous as he could with us.
Yes.
I mean, he was paying for this whole wedding.
With money he didn't have.
Yes, it seems that for the last 2 years, he'd been trying to keep one step ahead of financial ruin, robbing Peter to pay Paul.
And I think the love he put into the wedding was a last attempt to keep the good times at Sunny Point.
You're telling me that Bobby murdered Rachel when she found out about the fraud?
Bobby's about the only member of the family you never arrested, Inspector Hewish.
That's enough of that.
No doubt you've got round to him.
Bobby was no more a killer than his brother was. He'd been genuinely troubled by Jacko's last words.
Maybe this is the best thing I've ever done.
And why offer up information like that if you were intent on Jacko being blamed for the murder? Why not, for example, try and discredit Dr. Calgary's evidence? And besides, he wasn't the only person who benefited from Rachel's death that night, was he, Mr. Durrant? Whose secrets were kept safe? Tina, why did your mother arrange for you to have a job at a university library in the north of Scotland?
She doesn't know, okay? That's just what Mum did. She was a very controlling woman.
Let her answer, please.
And when you came here that night to tell her you weren't going to take the position, who did you see coming over the crossing just after the time of the murder? Whose boat was being used, Tina?
Mickey's.
No, I was at work. I was collecting from Bristol. You checked that with my employer, didn't you, Inspector?
And I didn't stay because if Mickey was in a temper, as he usually was after visiting Mother, he'd be in no mood to talk to me.
Why did you think Mickey had come to see your mother?
He was angry with her. He didn't want her to keep controlling my life.
Why not? She'd realized you and Mickey were in a relationship, hadn't she? While you both lived away in Redkey, and she was determined to drive a wedge between you.
We're only brother and sister by law.
She had no right to control us.
Mickey.
You suspect Mickey killed your mother, don't you, Tina? You're trying to protect him.
Miss Marple, his alibi does check out with his employers.
You saw Mickey's boat and thought it was him, but it couldn't have been Mickey rowing, Tina. You followed Jacko out that night, didn't you, Hester? What did you talk about?
Nothing.
I'm a dead man, Hess.
Calm down. Come on, let's go for a walk, baby.
If I don't get the cash, they really are going to kill me.
I'm sure it's not that bad, Jacko.
What do you know?
I'd never seen Jacko frightened. I couldn't calm him.
How far did you walk with him?
Just to the corner of the house. Then I came back.
Did you see anyone else?
No.
You sure? Because I don't think you were the only one who followed Jacko out after the fight. Who then? Who has been shifting the blame from one person to another since Dr. Calgary's arrival? Who considers herself to be the real mother of these children, the one who gave them the unconditional love they were so badly short of?
For what reason would I follow Jacko out, Miss Marple?
Because you loved him. Because you were the latest in a long line of middle-aged women Jacko could manipulate. Jacko could bleed dry of savings. Jacko could make feel special. You said Jacko killed Rachel, and I think you still believe that. You believe that Jacko was responsible.
Make it look like a burglary, and then bring me the money.
Yes.
And hit her hard. Make sure she'll never get up. I'll get a cast iron alibi for 8 o'clock, because everyone will suspect it's me.
8 o'clock?
Yes, my darling.
Jacko did know who the real killer was, but he also knew that if he left prison, he was going to get killed anyway. And he did the one good thing in his life by letting you go free. The real mother that these children had.
You tell a good story, Miss Marple. But what proof is there? No one saw anything, no one heard anything. Not even Inspector Hewish can arrest me on hearsay.
These children, who you've loved and protected your whole life, will never be free of suspicion if you don't confess, Kirsten. Their ordeal by innocence has already cost one of them his life, and another has been pushed to the edge. Let alone my friend, whose life you thought disposable, who was not part of this family, who was never part of any family, and who you denied happiness to. Set your children free, Kirsten. It's the only way you can protect them now.
Kirsten Lindstrom, did you murder Rachel Argyle and Gwenda Vaughan?
she loved Jacko so much, why did she let him die?
She didn't know about him being married. She thought she was the only one. I think her love curdled to hate the moment his wife knocked on the door. You going to London?
Yes. And I'm travelling again to Galapagos. There's a new expedition.
Do you ever go home, Dr. Calgary?
Rarely. Where's home for you, Miss Marple?
Home is St. Mary Mead.
Ah.